Hey guys, welcome back, and today we will be going over the Random Booster Select BX-39 Shelter Drake. Another Dragon Bay to add to the long list of Dragon Bays already out. Let's see how this one stacks up against the other Drakes. In the Random Booster, we get a balanced stamina and defense variant of the Bay with different colors. The owner is Blader Z. Let's get to unboxing this thing. First look at the bay, you can tell it's an oval shape, just like Crimson Garuda. Also, the red color looks pretty cool for the dragon compared to the blue dragons that's been getting out there with Drake. If you also look at the blade from the side, you can tell that it moves at a small slope lower, going up, coming to a point right here where it hits. A small detail that can be good for smash attacks along with destabilizing other bays. You can also look right underneath the bay and see that the weight is not distributed evenly. We will see how this plays later on. Here is the yellow Shelter Drake, and I think it looks kind of cool. People have been very on edge about it, and it reminds me of Zapdos from Pokemon. And lastly, we have the green version, or the black and green version. I'm a big fan of green and black, so I think this also looks pretty dope as well. Now let's get to the Ratchet. The 780, a new height with the same 7 sides that we know and love, the thick one. I will say I don't know if anyone else notices, but the 780 actually has a better grip or a tighter snap than the lower versions of 7 sides. I can really feel the difference, and you can even hear it as well. I did it with a Nightmail 2 with the 760 for comparison. Just listen. Lastly, we have Gear Point Bit. I actually like this bit, but I feel like there hasn't really been a bay that utilizes its full potential, at least not in my opinion. I do like it with Unicorn Sting, but I don't know, it's a weird bit. It's good for attack and stamina. It's a good balance bit, but I feel like it does more attack than it does stamina. Here we have the stamina build, which is a piss colored 570 Ratchet. We've seen this before on Wizard Rod, but with the new color, not a bad Ratchet, not a terrible height. It's kind of your preference on how you would want to use this. And here is the Orbit. People will choose the ball over the orb, but the orb is still good at stamina. Altogether, the stamina build looks pretty cool. Not super bad at it at all. Here is a defensive build next with the usual 360 Ratchet in a green color. Not much to see here. We've seen it many times before. 360 I feel like is pretty good for defense builds, because usually defense builds have like 3 different areas, sides in which that would be good for. So pretty standard. We've seen it plenty of good times before, so not bad. Next we have the dot bit. I will say that the dot bit is not a bad bit at all. I like it a lot. I feel like it does a pretty good job in defense, keeping it stay there with the little balls on top of it, the little dots on the actual bit, keeping it from, when getting hit, getting just straight into the pocket. Nevertheless, it's not going to be super impervious to when it stays in the middle, it being hit and then going from in the pocket. I will say it does do a pretty good job of keeping it from always getting bullied around. It's not a bad bit at all. Altogether, it's a pretty good build and a good for color scheme. Now, let's get into the weight of these bays. It comes to the yellow Shelter Drake, it comes out to be 32.75. The green one comes out to be 32.43. and the red one comes out to be 32.56. It's kind of crazy that the red one wasn't the heaviest and that the yellow one was, but this is where we're at right now. Now that we got the weight, let's do the test spins on these bays. Alright, now let's see which Shelter Drake comes out on top. First, we can do stamina build of 570 orb versus the defense build of 360 dot. Now let's do the balance build versus the stamina build of 570 orb. Now let's do the winner's circle of 780 gear point versus the defense build of 360 dot. Now for the extra, let's see if this does good against some pretty good builds over in Beyblade X Metaverse. Now for final thoughts. I will say that I'm a little bit in the middle here. I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen this, I thought it was gonna be terrible, especially with the Leek lower weight on it. Even with it losing to other bays heavier than what it is, it does have good ratchet sniping potential and could even be better if it was lower. It being lighter means that it's faster and probably does crazier moves if it was lower at 960 and on level, but probably be a lot faster, move around the stadium a lot more, and more potentials for KO. Because of the shape and it being lower, it also could be good at deflecting and being a good defense type. We already seen that it was pretty good at destabilizing other bays when it hit it properly, but lower and on a defense build with heavier, let's say 760 ratchet, would probably be a decent Bahan defense build. It does have a problem with finishing and getting bullied by heavier bays than it is when it comes to attacking. Overall, it is decent, but you're definitely gonna have to work around this and make a certain build in order to get this thing to work. It's not terrible, it's not great, it's kind of in the middle. It did better than Crimson Garuda in my opinion. Alright guys, that's all I have for this video. Stay tuned, subscribe, and there are more videos on the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.